Hi there, everybody. My name is Laura, and I've been asked quite a few times to do some position corrections, some live position corrections, some live reviews of positions. So I thought I'd do that today. And I've got some pictures here, and I think you're going to like it. So stay tuned. We're going to have some fun. Now, if it's your first time here, and you like horses, you want to improve your riding, you want to win more ribbons at your next horse show, or you just kind of like horsey related stuff, go right now, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss anything. Now let's get started. So I've got some pictures here and I'm going to share them with you, and we're going to go over some position corrections. How does that sound? I know I'm really excited to do that. So I'm going to have to bear with me here because I'm doing some fun stuff today, and it's going to be great. So here we go. Here's our first picture. What do you think about that picture? This is a kind of picture that you would see in a magazine, I guess, and this is what people think of when they think of equestrians and they think of horseback riders. They think of this lovely young person and a horse, and they're in the forest, and it's all really beautiful, and this is what they think that goes on with it. And I'm not quite sure what you think of that, but here's what I think about that. There's a lot of things going on here that I think maybe we should talk about. And maybe, when people think of equestrians, or if you put equestrian and look up for pictures and magazines and that type of thing, this is what comes to mind. And this is the kind of thing that we have to kind of erase, because this isn't about riding. And this picture kind of makes me angry when I see it, because there's just so much going on here. It's not even a real equestrian, real person on a horse. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share this. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see how I feel about this. And I'm going to share my screen. There it is. Just making sure that I shared my screen. So bear with me. There we go. I'm just going to check to make sure you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. It's awesome. So the thing I like the most about this picture is that you can see, I mean, it's lovely. Wouldn't you like to be riding in that forest? It's lovely. Here's what I like about it. She's got safety stirrups. Isn't that great? All those things going on in there, and she's got safety stirrups. I love it. So safety stirrups are great. Bare feet, not so much. Don't like that. Don't like this. Got the whip around her wrist. Of course, this is the one that's really bothersome. Where's her helmet? Where's her helmet? Right? She needs to have a helmet on. What's up with that? And she should have gloves on. She should have pants on. There's lots of things going on here. Looks like a lovely, lovely dress she's got on, and the beautiful greenery and everything. But that's not really a real situation, is it? So we are going to go away from that screen share now. I'm just going to move on from something else. And we're going to go on to this position here. I'm just going to get rid of that. And here is the position. Here's another picture that has been shared with me, and they wanted to get some position ideas, some position corrections of this horse. And you know what? I get this asked a lot of me. What can I do to improve my position? What can I do right now to improve the way I look on top of my horse? And we can do a few simple things right now to improve this rider's position. The number one thing is that we could check the stirrup length. Just by glancing at this photo, if you kind of look at her stirrup length, you know, it looks like it's a little bit long. And if you just kind of Look at it. Looks like the stirrup should be a little bit shorter so that the top of the stirrup tread is in line with the bottom of the ankle. Do you have trouble keeping your heels down? Put that in the comments below. What kind of exercises do you do to help get your heels down? And if you look closely, it looks like these stirrups are just way too long, right? It just looks like they're way too long, and it would probably be a good stirrup length if she wasn't going over fences, but she is going over fences, so the stirrups should be, the top of the stirrup tread should be at the bottom of her ankle bone. And if you just give me a second here, we're going to do a screen share with you again. So here we go here. So this top of the stirrup tread should be in line with the ankle bone. And if you look right here, you can see that this is where her ankle bone is right here. So those stirrups are way too long, particularly if you're doing some jumping. This, to me, right off the bat, one of the first things that you look for is the weight down in the heels. And we can see it, this picture right here, her heels are not down, her heels are up. Her heels are up and all the weight is into her stirrups. This is not good. Her weight should be down past her stirrups into her heels. And one thing that can help that is to have the stirrups adjusted properly. If you need to get some information about how to adjust the stirrups properly, you've got a card placed up here, and then you can see that the stirrup, where the stirrup should be placed. Top of the stirrup tread, bottom of the ankle bone. That's the bottom line. But the other thing is that when you're, generally speaking, we like to have a straight line shoulder, knee, toe, and the stirrup should be near where the girth is. There should be a straight line shoulder, knee, toe, and what we get here is get a straight line knee to hip. So her shoulders should come back this way. Her shoulders should come back towards this line here. Her shoulders should come back this way here, like this. And her foot should come forward with the weight down into her heel. And in order for her to do that, she's got to get her bum over top of the saddle here. We want her seat in this part of the saddle. It's got to come closer to the saddle. She is standing with her seat right over top of the pommel, right over top of the front of the saddle. And if that is one reason why this horse is jumping, if you notice the way he's jumping, his knees are down. We'd like to have his knees up here. His forelegs should be up this way, so that, and for one reason why this horse is jumping this way is because she has got all her weight on the horse's shoulders, and the horse can't lift itself up and lift its legs up that way. One thing I really like about this rider is that she has a straight line elbow hand to the horse's mouth, but this elbow should be down here and her hand should be down here. The other thing that I really like about this rider is that her head is up and she's looking forward. And that's a really nice place for her eyes to be, to looking up and looking forward and all. And we want to make sure that she is looking up and looking forward to the next jump. So how are we going to correct this? How are we going to correct this? How are we going to correct these things? And some of them can be corrected quite easily. Some of them will require a little bit more in depth. So the first thing we're going to tackle is this heel. So the first thing I want to address is this heel. And you could see that her foot is this line right here. This is not good. With her toes pointing down and all the weight onto the stirrup. We want this heel down, and the heel should be about here in line with the girth. The stirrup leather, which is running here, that's where the stirrup leather is. The stirrup leather comes from about this part, should be like this with the stirrup. That's where the stirrup leather should be going. So you can see that the stirrup leather, this is where it is. I'm going to outline that again, and I'm going to put a green line now. And this is where the stirrup line should be. That's about where the stirrup bar is. The stirrup leather should be parallel. And that's approximately where it should be, give or take a little bit. Her leg is slipped back with the weight onto her toe, and what should happen is that her stirrup should stay still with the weight right down into her stirrup, and her seat, we'd like to have her seat closer to the saddle. So if her seat was closer to the saddle, it would bring her shoulders back. So this line here, I'm just going to put a straight line there. This line here, okay, that line there should be here. So we got from shoulder to hip, that shoulder to hip, if her bum was over top of the saddle, right? That would be awesome. And then you would get the straight line shoulder, knee, toe. So that is basically where her position should be. Again, how are we going to do this? To get those heels down, easiest, simplest exercise is working in 2-point position. Working in 2-point position helps to develop the way. Going in 2-point position with your seat over top of the saddle is one of the easiest things you can do to develop the rider's leg, to develop a good base of support and an excellent balance over top of your leg. So this means just keeping your stirrups adjusted properly so that you have the top of the stirrup tread over the bottom of the ankle bone, maybe a little bit higher if you are doing some jumping, and balance yourself over top of your stirrups with the weight coming down in your heels so that your heel is absorbing the shock of the trot and able to keep yourself balanced in 2-point position, 2 points being your left leg and your right leg, and your seat over top of the saddle, just kind of hovering over top of the saddle so that the crotch of your pants is just brushing the seat of the saddle, not standing up like this rider was doing, not doing like what this rider's doing where you see she's got her seat well over and over top of the pommel of the saddle. This is not good. It's not safe. It loads up to she's way ahead of the energy of the horse. So you have to keep the seat of the saddle, rider's seat over the seat of the saddle, and the shoulders in over top of the leg so the weight comes down from your rider's shoulder down the stirrup leather into the stirrup iron so it keeps yourself balanced. Easiest way to do that is by doing 2-point position at a trot, trotting over rails, and practicing the 2-point position so you can develop your balance and your strength. So that's one simple exercise you can do. Another simple exercise you can do to help get your heels down is off the horse, and that is by standing on the edge of a step or a stair and stretching the weight down into your heels so your heels are coming down below the stair so that you're stretching the weight down into your heels. If your heels are like this, stretching the heels down and up and down and up on the edge of a stair or a piece of wood or a brick or something like that. That's another good exercise to help get the weight down into your heels. And also doing some simple with the weight or without a weight, just simple squats, plies, so that you can get the weight down into your heels. And do this exercise, doing squats, just simple squatting down onto your feet, and lift your toes up while you're doing it, so that rather than going onto the balls of your foot and lifting your heels up off the ground, keep your feet flat and even pull your toes up off of the ground. And those are the 3 simplest exercises you can do. 1 is 2-point position over trot rails. 2 is standing on the edge of a stair, pushing the weight down into your heels. And 3, doing some squats and raising your toes up. Those are kind of the 3 things that I like to work on. One other simple exercise you can do when you're riding your horse, particularly in your 2-point position, if you have somebody that can do a lunge lesson with you to help encourage you to keep the weight down in your heels, and do an exercise that I call up, up, down. So it's a rising trot exercise, and in rising trot you go up, down, up, down, up, down, but this exercise you go standing up in your stirrups for 1, 2, and then down for 1. So it's up, up, down, up, up, down, up, up, down. And those are it's really simple exercise that really forces you to get the weight right down into your heels. So there's some exercises you can do to help get the weight down in your heels. If you'd like to have your own position correction done, please send me an email, thistleridge@hotmail.com, and I'd love to share a position review with you. Thanks now very much. See ya. Bye.